Danche, Scott Nishikashon. I am a Métis from Saskatoon. I got ancestors from Red River. That was a big Métis settlement. And the family I come from is part of the diaspora that happened after the resistance in Red River. And I currently live on Canada's East Coast. So it's a massive privilege for me to be back home, spend time with loved ones, and spend time in the dance community. This is a big deal for me, and I really appreciate being here, and I appreciate you all for being here. We're only here because you're here, so thank you. So I welcome you all to tonight's International Dance Festival put on by Free Flow Dance Theatre, run by Jackie La Tendresse. And this is a wonderful opportunity for us to experience how dance helps us perceive what's happening in the world and helps us move with the energy that's happening in the world. I want to thank SKarts, Sask Culture. They helped make this happen. I want to thank the Kinsman Club of Saskatoon. They helped get some free tickets happening for people, so that's a big deal, and that's much appreciated. I also want to thank the International Women's Club of Saskatoon for helping us out. Their volunteer work goes a long way, and I really appreciate that. Also, the Avenue Room, it's a great venue. I make a joke that when I come to something like this, it's like Ernest Goes to Town. But that joke only lands on folks that are around my age. So thank you for that. We didn't hear crickets just now. I really appreciate that. And 5x5, the excellent tech crew that is very, very wonderful to work with. I really appreciate you guys for that. Anyone who treats me well, I appreciate it. Anytime I feel love, that goes a long way for me. So we are on a very special territory, and we are on Mother Earth. And our Mother nurtures us and gives us an opportunity to live, to eat, to sleep, to endeavor, to visit, which is very important in the Métis way and in many other cultural ways, and hopefully to love. And being on this territory, which is homeland Métis territory, it is Nahiawak land. It is Anishinaabe territory. It is Nakota territory. It is Dakota territory. And it is Dene territory. And I'm glad I remembered that. My wife is Dene, and that's the most important one for me to remember for my own well-being, I think. Just joking. If I forgot the Métis ones, I'd be really in trouble too. But anyways, yeah, so when I think about where I am, I always think about the kindness, the inclusion, the compassion, the sense of interconnectedness that's always been extended to me by peoples from all of the nations that I just listed. If you came up to me after the show, we could visit, and if you really wanted, I could share a story of experiencing kindness, inclusion, compassion, a sense of interconnectedness from people from all those nations. And so when I'm reminded of that, especially coming back home, and people are feeding me, they're sharing medicines with me because I'm on the airplane and I'm getting the sniffles and I'm getting all worked up and I'm getting all out of sorts, and as soon as I see them, often they'll just hand me stuff that helps me. And it's the type of kindness, that inclusion, compassion, sense of interconnectedness that is really so expansive that I could never find a way to pay it back in the measure that I receive it. And that's just a scientific fact as far as I'm concerned. And so I feel a sense of responsibility, you know, when I hear my grandbabies who are Nahiawak, when I hear them talking about how they know they have to take extra measures at age 7 and 8 to stay safe in the community. They tell me that when I take them to the park. I know that as I stand here as a 6-foot-tall male with white skin and all the privilege, unearned privilege that I've received. I feel a sense of responsibility to, at the very, very, very least, when that systemic programming of divisiveness, domination, and combativeness, when that bubbles up in me, and it does because I swam in these murky waters my whole life, so when that bubbles up in me, at the very least, for all the kindness I've experienced, I feel a responsibility to transform that immense energy back into that life-affirming energy, which is the only reason I exist, and that's that inclusive, compassionate, interconnected energy. That's what I think of when I'm here on this territory, is that sense of responsibility, and I also bask in the love. Feels great to bask in that love. So I would like to introduce tonight's artists. We have Viktoria Grynenko and Janita Frantsi. And they are presenting a beautiful piece. And I've already forgotten the name because, remember, I am a grandpa. I lean on that whenever I need to, okay? So I wrote this down. I'm going to try to pronounce this with some whatever integrity I have left over here. So, the piece is called Lacrimosa e muto. And that translates to weeping and also to changing or shifting. This piece speaks to Janita's and Viktoria's experience, their artistic relationship, Viktoria's roots in Ukraine, Janita's roots in Finland, which has also experienced, I guess you could say, the wrath of entities that engage deeply in the domination, combative, divisive mindset. And so, let us please give a warm and loving welcome to Janita and Viktoria. Well, first of all, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not usually a mouth breather, but through the whole performance, I was mouth breathing. I'm not proud to say it, but please take that as a compliment. That was beautiful work. So, you mentioned the name of the composer of the first part of the work. So, Viktoria, can I ask you to repeat his name and tell me how you decided upon his work to start this particular piece?
Yeah, so our piece, like you said, is in two parts. And the first part, Lacrimosa, is the title of the work that is composed by Ukrainian composer Igor Zavgorodny. He's the violinist, violist, and the composer in Kiev. And he wrote this work 1 year into the war, during winter, it was last year when the electricity was off, the power was attacked by the Russian bombs and drones. So he wrote this piece then, kind of in the darkness. That's the character of the piece, kind of, to me, it feels like icy and very glacial change of the notes, and very unusual, just violin techniques overall in the first part. Yeah, so that's what inspired us to. So I was really impressed with this work. I wanted to play it, but it's pretty hard to listen to, and it needs a little bit more to it. So since we worked before, we decided to do something with that part, and then eventually we came to create the second part of the piece.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that. Janita, I'm curious, how have you seen your artistic relationship with Viktoria evolve since the war in Ukraine started?
Yeah, we first worked together before. That was a few years ago, on a completely different piece. And then, was it last year? We went out for a coffee and started talking and wanted to create a piece, or Viktoria asked if I'd want to collaborate on a piece because there was this composition already. And then, we started to talk about the change that's happening in Europe. Obviously Ukraine, but different other countries, especially in Eastern and Northern Europe as well. And that's kind of where the idea started for this piece, that we saw the change. We saw how Russian monuments are being taken down, how Russian-related names for streets and parks were changed around Europe. So then we came to the conclusion that we want to draw inspiration from that change. And then the second part is more about the uncertainty, but also the possibility of that change. So what might come as we move forward. Obviously, we don't know, but that's what we explore in the second part.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And if I may, Viktoria, I have another question for you. How have you experienced artistic energy, the movement of artistic energy in the past couple years compared to previous to that?
So it's complicated. I think in the arts, overall in Ukraine, there is a big uprising of artists who want to create art and who want to create art that is more Ukrainian, people who are finding more about themselves because half of the Ukraine is speaking Russian because of the history of the USSR oppression. So there's a lot of composers that create truly Ukrainian art or looking for who they are, trying to find. So I was more interested as well trying to play music of more Ukrainian composers, reading more Ukrainian books, so all of that. And then I think this piece is kind of part of that, a part of this uprising of even if people are oppressed and the territory is taken away, we're trying to create. So that's kind of we're part of this as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm just curious, one last question. I could go on all night, but I'm just going to ask one more. And this is for the both of you, so just whoever wants to respond first. How do you see your artistic relationship evolving going forward with each other?
I love that question. I hope it keeps evolving. I've loved working with Viktoria, we received Edmonton Arts Council grant to research and explore the second part of the piece. And part of that exploration was that we share practices. So me coming from dance, Viktoria coming from music, and violin specifically. So we wanted to learn about each other's practices and how some things translate in maybe in different words, but how some things translate between these disciplines and how some things are completely different. So yeah, I really hope that we get to continue with this exploration of sharing practices and also creating together.
Thank you. And how about you, Viktoria?
Yeah, I think working with live dancer for me and working with a live musician, it's a mutual gift to each other.
Okay.
I think because a lot of the music works have kind of dance in it, so a lot of Bach works, they're all dances, but we kind of imagine the dance when we play. Like, I'm a classical violinist, so we imagine dance, but it's really nice to see the real dancer, and it really helps gesture, it helps musicality, so just kind of selfishly it helps me to become a better violinist, just working on together with the dancer, with Janita, yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. I like to pick away at the fiddle once in a while myself. And so if you ever want to collaborate with a Métis wannabe fiddle player, please, let's connect. All right, everyone. I'm not going to keep you here all night, but I am going to ask you, show these two some love. They deserve it. Thanks for taking that energy and shining your light on us with it. I really appreciate what you did here tonight.
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you so much for the wonderful audience here and at home, all around the world, I know. So yeah, thanks for having us here, and thanks for giving
All
us.
the organizers were so impressed with this space and how well our dress rehearsal went, or our tech rehearsal. Everything was so prepared. We're just really great. We have an amazing time.
Wonderful.
Go Saskatoon.
Hey. All right. Well, so as far as performances go tonight, other than me busting a move here on my own in the next few minutes, I'm going to say excellent on the performances tonight. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. Excellent.
Hello. I just wanted to step out on stage and just say thank you to all of our talented artists that we have here this evening. Thank you to Scott. You're such a wonderful and warm host. It's a joy to have you here. I'm glad you made it back to Saskatoon to join us for this. And thank you to all of you here in the audience this evening. I'd like to say a special thank you to the Government of Canada for their support of this program for International Dance Week. Thank you, Government of Canada. Good choice. And I also want to invite all of you to come back again. We have another brand new program tomorrow evening and also on Sunday, featuring all new artists doing original work. So we really hope that you're going to join us again tomorrow on Saturday night and on Sunday. And we'll see you then. Thank you.